So, hey there, it's Barbara, and I am doing my first Second Act with Barbara Brooks and friends live from a different location. We're actually inside of the home of my very dear friend, Lori Frisher, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story. We are celebrating Disability Pride Month. Who knew that July, well, she did, who knew that July was such a special month? And considering I, late stage disability person, having learned that I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD. Of course, all my friends are like, Barbara, of course, you didn't know that. But I was officially diagnosed last year. And so knowing now, and I learned from Lori, that ADHD is a disability. So you know what? I'm celebrating the way my brain works. But enough about me. We are here to talk to Lori about her disabilities and learn a lot about your journey all through life. And you do see some things that are here with us now because we're going to share what these are all about. So I want to welcome you to the Second Act with Barbara Brooks and friends, celebrating today Disability Pride Month. So there are over 1 billion people worldwide living with disabilities. That's a lot. So we are celebrating this with you. Lori Frisher, you are an advocate for ableism. You are a cancer survivor now, officially as of Friday, 3 times. And you are just a resilient solo ager as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your story, going back to childhood with the first disability that she has been living with? Because since this other diagnosis, there's been something else that has gone on. So share with us.
Yes, so it is so good to be here. This is actually my first podcast since I am cancer-free for a third time. So I'm so happy to be here and celebrate this July. As Barbara said, it is a big month for not only myself, but millions and millions of people worldwide. And I was born with a hearing loss and wore hearing aids for about 30 years of my life, and have been gifted different technologies like cochlear implants, wearing an invisible hearing aid with the cochlear implant. I was the first in the world to be gifted an invisible hearing aid with a cochlear implant.
Can you show them?
So it's really interesting. You talk about celebrating.
You look like you're walking out of Terminator. It's like, she looks like a freaking badass right now.
Well, it's really interesting because, hearing aids, you're very self-conscious of your hearing aids. And, now that having gone through cancer a third time, sarcoma cancer, I lost my hair. And I was always, very much covering my hair up with my thick red hair.
Thick, long, beautiful, sexy hair.
So it's now interesting to really just be proud. You talk about being proud of who you are. And I am proud to say that I used 2 cochlear implants. So you see my cochlear implants on both sides. And I never thought I would just go without hair and show off my cochlear implants.
Right.
But it's been a very personal thing for me to really just not only do it for myself, but to show others that, this is who you are and be proud of who you are.
Well, and that's the thing is you have always been prideful of who you are and what you stand for. And we'll talk about this company also that you started just a few years ago around ableism to fight the good fight. But you just said you used to hide this, even though you never hid in total who you were, but this you would hide. So what does it feel like to officially come out again If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
and while you do that, I'm going to work with the lights a little bit so people can really get a good bird's eye view.
Yeah, so I think really it's about being comfortable with yourself, but allowing others to make you comfortable with who you are. And when we talk about, being comfortable with who we are, we all have struggles. As children, we're insecure. We are shy to, admit that, we may have, differences. And how do we celebrate these differences? And that's what I think the world needs to learn from people like us who are educating and sharing the stories. And I think when, we talk about disabilities and ableism, it's something we're always learning. There are a lot of people who aren't educated on what disability is. Like you said, I didn't know that ADHD was a part of the disability community. And, you'd be surprised.
And can I tell you, when you told me that it was a phone call and you were preparing, this was pre-cancer, you were preparing for an event, and it was last year sometime. And I was shocked. I feel like I was a little bit, not ashamed, but like, I kind of asked again, really? Having ADHD, being neurodivergent, that's a disability? And it was a little like, as if I didn't want to own it. But I own it now because it's who I am and it's who Barbara Brooks is. And so you talk about disability and also going to go into workplaces pre this, because we're going to talk about this. Mm-hmm. You built a company, a brand new company on top of, because, people like Lori can't just do one thing. You had your gift basket company, but also someone living as a deaf woman. You were all your life exposed to this ism, being seen differently, treated differently from time to time. So you created a company 2 years ago this fall, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that, because then we're going to go into this new part of who Lori Frisher is with this new diagnosis after the cancer and these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's really interesting. Like I said, a lot of people are living with a disability. They don't talk about it or know someone with a disability. And the truth is, all of us are going to have a disability once in our lifetime. So I decided
that ageism,
yes,
or some ism.
Yeah. So there's a community that we're all going to join at any given moment, and this community invites all. But I created a company called Ready or Not Media, and Ready or Not Media was at a time where I was going through another medical diagnosis where it was during COVID, and a lot of people were wearing masks, and you couldn't see lips and read lips, and couldn't advocate for myself. And it was very challenging, and I couldn't believe that
you couldn't advocate for yourself because you were vocal.
My vocal cords were not working, and I was lost. And I thought to myself, here we are in 2001, 2000, and we're still struggling with the fact that
it's 2020. I think it was
2020, 21 was when I was diagnosed. But we're in a time where access should be the norm, and that hospitals should be supplying medical masks that are see-through, where you can communicate, not just for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, but for people like yourself who may have a hard time hearing the doctor. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to educate and take it to a level where we were just having conversations with leaders and saying, you know what, this is really important. You can, cater to clients and customers and make them feel that they have a sense of belonging, and create conversations in your offices and communities, hire better, treat people that they are part of your workforce. And we decided to put people in different scenarios of understanding what it felt like having a certain disability. So whether they would be blindfolded or put in a wheelchair. No, it's not to get the exact experience, but it gives you that.
Or shame people into trying to understand
Right.
or be empathetic.
Right. But teaching empathy on a level that would make people go away from the experience saying, you know what, to their HR leaders, listen, let's do this. Let's do this right. Because it could be you or I who has this need or needs the accessibility. And these things are more mainstream than people realize. So it's about having really good conversations with one another.
And I remember, so we live in Colorado, and I remember there was a committee or a Senate person, and there was an accident that happened, or no, he was making an appearance at a local venue and tell that story, what happened, because it actually went global.
Yes, it was our leader, Chris Hines, who is in a wheelchair, and the venue was not accessible for him to take the stage. And he ended up climbing on the stage himself with his own hands. And you talk about public humiliation and the lack of sensitivity and the lack of, asking the question before someone arrives to alleviate these kind of situations. And it did go public, and a lot of people saw what happened, and you say, you know what, how can we do better next time? And you look at event planners and people that are creating these events. How can we do better? So no one has to experience what Chris had experienced.
And I think the picture that had gone viral was him actually climbing on the stage from his wheelchair, which was mind-boggling that they knew he was in a wheelchair. So it's mind-boggling how no one thought ahead to accommodate and have empathy and understand that there are people that are living different lives, and we need different things when we are attending, or going to work or attending events or what have you. So you started Ready or Not Media in 2022.
So around that late 2021, but 22 is when I really kicked it off.
And you were on your way to landing some really law firms and Colorado, that Kelly works at, big agency. Colorado
Community First then, Foundation, and working with Downtown Denver Partnerships and
the Clayton
Members Club. Yeah, so I've been really fortunate to work with a diverse group of corporate clients, and First Bank, and a lot of great leaders who are ready to bring empathy to the workforce.
Yes, and then let's fast forward to fall of 2023. You had your new journey in life began. Do you want to share what happened, how it is this new diagnosis came about?
Yeah, so I was experiencing a lot of pain on my left leg, kind of sciatic pain, and a lot of people thought it was just, something I could fix with physical therapy, and it was my IT bands, and I just had this feeling I was not doing well. And as a 2-time cancer survivor, your body, and we all have to trust our body and listen to our body when something isn't right. And I ended up going to an orthopedist, oncologist that I was referred to, and they diagnosed me with sarcoma, my myxofibrosarcoma, which is a soft tissue sarcoma. And it ended up that at first when they saw it, they said it was the size of a sweet potato, and it ended up being a 6.5-pound tumor that they found in my hip. And that tumor was massive. It was growing very quickly. And my gluteus muscles and my hip, my pelvis.
Okay, stand by. I'm going to have you tell us again. I really feel like I need to get the, let me just pause.
Sure.
We switched locations. Yes, we switched locations. I wanted you all to get a better view of my girlfriend, Lori Frisher, and these beautiful lashes that she's got on. So, Lori, tell us about what happened in fall of 2023. Tell us your story, because what had happened was you were on your way to a brand new journey that you didn't know was going to be a new life story. So tell us about what had happened.
So in fall of 2022, I was living it up. I was just, doing all these great talks and, struggling with pain that was progressively getting worse on my left side. I thought it was my IT band, so did the doctors, sciatic nerve pain. And it was pretty painful, sleeping like I was the Wizard of Oz, Tin Man, and very uncomfortable. But I did go to the doctor, and they had diagnosed me as having third stage sarcoma. It was myxofibrosarcoma. And
we have to have each other's back.
Only Barbara, right? It's good. We're girlfriends, so we could tell each other anything. But I got diagnosed, and it was a tumor that was growing progressively, and it went from the size of a sweet potato to the size of a watermelon, and it ended up being a 6.5-pound tumor on my hip and my pelvis, and my gluteus muscles had to be removed. And it was definitely a very frightening time for me, not only to have cancer for a third time, but
and beat it.
But this type of cancer was definitely a different type of cancer, because it was now a time that not only did I have, a hearing disability, but I was going to lose the ability to walk, and my strength was going to have to rely on the use of a walker, using a wheelchair for distance. And I couldn't believe what was happening, and what is happening, that this is my new normal, given what I do for a living, and sharing with others what that feeling is like, and having more empathy, but, having another perspective of how people look at you when you're in a chair, how people look at you when you are using a walker, how people adapt, and create a life that they could lead with assistive technology. And it's been a big turn of events for me, because really, I'm starting to understand even more my own community, and have such a profound and great respect for the work that advocates have done before me, and people who create things to help people like myself and others. And it's really something that is really emotional for me, because it's a new normal for me.
And how have you, and this third diagnosis, not only did they have to take nearly 7 pounds from your body, which, by the way, I hope it's okay to say, because I did witness it. It was in the shape, and if you know this woman, it was in the shape of a heart. Of all shapes, the woman with the biggest heart that I know of, this damn tumor, was in the shape of a heart. How has the thing that people don't know when they haven't, and I think a lot of us have had friends that have been diagnosed with cancer, some are no longer with us, you have rang the bell.
Mm-hmm.
You have rang the bell, but this time has not been easy on you in the least. Not only did you have this mass again from your body, but this is a whole new normal for you. You even said, when I came to visit you in the hospital, you were explaining to me that even then you still had to educate them on masks as they're talking to you. You literally, if we even go further back, had to advocate for yourself to not accept that this was just sciatica or what have you. And now next to us is a piece of equipment that you used to bring as part of your talks, and people that were using these pieces of equipment, now it's a part of your life. How has this transition been all the way around?
It's come full circle. And the amazing thing is like, it is a lot of losses going through this kind of thing, but I am trying to look at it from the perspective, because of what I do, I'm reminded that there are people who are out there who are, breaking world records, who are in Paris right now, who are going to the Paralympics, who are amputees and wheelchair athletes, and they're, people who are, on television, and they're on the big screen, and they have disabilities, and there are CEOs who are running companies with invisible disabilities and visible disabilities. Right. And it's like, there's no stopping, but, that's what inspires me even more. Yeah. But what inspires me in this transition is that, I now am using the equipment myself. Like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
It's like simple tasks, what we take for granted every day, like putting socks on, and putting socks on with, an apparatus that helps you get the socks on, and then putting your foot through it.
Oh,
and then the sock goes on. This is something that is not just used for people like myself, but for people like that can't reach down to their, feet.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And then, looking at like a reacher, and looking at this technology so I can lift and put my clothes on in the morning. But someone, might be living alone, and they want to reach something in their kitchen because they can't get to it.
Oh,
so all of this technology is technology that is not just for people with disabilities, but it's access for all. And I am so excited because the education that I do, I have more storytelling to tell people about, and it's real. And
it's real. Even your phone, while we were talking, was flashing.
And
because of the other disability, which, by the way, you sort of had an invisible disability when you had all that hair hiding. Again, show them, because now they can really see.
So
your Terminator self.
My cochlear
implant.
They
can see it now. Yes.
And like I said earlier, with Barbara, that now to really take so much pride and celebrate our pride of, yes, the barriers that we've gone through, but also, the opportunities that we have to celebrate.
Because I think now that you've rang the bell, which I'm going to put a video to that, because I started crying when I saw it.
I did too.
I know you did. You rang, because you had to get tested a few times to make sure that that it was all gone from your body. And people, she has been going through this. October, I think, is when
October.
I took you, and you got the MRI, and that was sort of, and then from there it was just game on.
Yeah.
The other part of who you are is, not only are we, again, because we're going to celebrate, this is now you. So it is, again, Disability Pride Month, but the other part of you is the solo aging part, the solo ager part. You live independent, but you've always had If you know Lori Frisher, this woman was always on the go. I mean, the only way you can get a hold of her is a text. She was always on the go, advocating, living her life, walking dogs, your king, who rest in peace, and other people's dogs, because that's how you are. You babysat my dog, and so you're a solo ager. What has this been like with this new disability? You're actually from New York and living in Colorado. Your parents, your family is back in New York. What has that even been like?
Well, I've really been truly blessed to have the network of friends and people that have been in my life from the time I was a child to the time I played, sports. And I've been really blessed to surround myself with really good people. And this was a really big transition in terms of, letting go and letting people help me. Because
which is probably very hard for you.
Yes.
Because you're very independent.
Yes. And it is a very hard time to let people in.
Yeah.
And I did make that decision that I was not going to do cancer alone. And I did not want to do cancer alone. And, in order for me to have the strength to be where I am, I need the strength of family, friends, people like yourself who are motivating me to continue to do the work I love to do and be the person who I am. And, it's a different life when you're on your own. Yes. But at the same time, I've been really, like I said before, blessed to have my family come in from New York every few weeks. My mother and father have been, going and coming at the same time, and leaning on friends. But, to know that there are resources out there for people.
Right.
Like, going through cancer, 10, 15, years ago, is a lot different than cancer today. And people are on social media talking about it. People are making it, it's a journey that we share together. Yes. Like, how do we win this together? And, unfortunately, not everyone wins. Yeah. But, it's, again, surrounding yourself with really good people. And I choose to do that.
And I like that you said that, because, again, you were so independent, and it's so hard to relinquish your independence at a time of need where you're used to, again, you are used to being there for other people, sending the motivational, inspirational messages, being there for people, transporting people yourself if you needed to. And now the tables have turned. And what I found was you could tell how loved you are, if I could just say this for a moment. You are so loved that so many people came to your need, because you are also a solopreneur, and you've had to put your companies, plural, aside, one in which has you putting together gift baskets, amazing gift baskets for people that have always made you different, top shelf gift baskets. So that's bending, doing, going to the store, ordering, delivering by yourself. You've also, in the other side of your solopreneurship in the new company, are on stage, preparing, getting ready to deliver a keynote, whether it's, and these are active, you're an activation speaker, because it's not just you on stage, you are bringing things and people who are living with disabilities. And what I thought was beautiful, and the testament to who you are as a human, is not only did your friends come together, but also those companies that you have had impressed upon and shared your life with, so much so was donated. Because as a solopreneur, I'm sure at some point you're thinking, my income is gone. How do I pay in this beautiful apartment just the everyday things. And for people to come together, the minute you made us aware.
Barbara, it is something that I have never experienced. The gratitude and understanding what gratitude feels like.
Yeah.
Like being in a place where you are your most vulnerable.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I need help. I cannot do this alone. And that was the place that I was at, because people that are sole entrepreneurs, are always going, all right, I got this. I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. And alone.
Yeah.
And I got this. And I knew in my heart, I was like, I don't have it. I need help. And I couldn't believe the people that were coming into my life again. I mean, I'm talking
years back.
I mean, I'm talking like, like friends that I played soccer with when I was a child, who was sending cookies to me, that I was like, oh my God, I played soccer with them when I was like 12, maybe even 10. And I mean, oh my God, she was so shy and so quiet. And now she's like sending me cookies. I mean, it's not, people, just looking at people for giving, funds, but people giving their heart and being overwhelmed by, putting food together and meals together and being there for my family and, trips here. I mean, it just, you don't realize how much you're loved until you're like in an unfortunate situation like this. And it's like, how do we make our mark in the world?
Right.
And it's like, when you go through these situations, you're like,
I've made a mark.
I've made a mark. I've made an impact.
Yes.
And those are my gifts. Those are my gifts, the people that I know in my life. Those are my gifts.
So my question is, as we come to a close, what does the future look like? Where do you go from here? You rang that bell just days ago. Where do you go from here?
I sometimes sit in my own space and I don't know what my future looks like. I know that I've been given another shot.
Yeah.
And
a third shot. You're like a cat with 9 lives.
But I don't know, but I know that the struggle is real, and I know that I have work to do, and my work has so much more to share, and it's going to look different. And walking with a limp, walking with a walker, using a wheelchair to play tennis. I had a dream the other night, and it's so funny because you say, what does the future look like? The Paralympic movement was such a big thing in my life, being a part of getting athletes on the world stage and being seen. And I had another friend of mine in the community say, let's talk about wheelchair tennis. And I thought to myself, oh my God, maybe I'll try a new sport.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I love tennis,
too. but play wheelchair tennis. And I thought, maybe I'm not ready for Paris this year, but maybe LA. So
in 2028.
So I thought, you know what, maybe
so
my future is going to LA and, playing wheelchair tennis. So who knows? We'll see. But it's not crazy to think. But it's something that, I just have this drive to to continue to make an impact in my community and express my love of what I do with the support of those that have given me the opportunity to continue. And it's been a tough journey. It still is a tough journey, but you know, I just know that I have more work to do. So
you have more work to do, and we will all be watching the 2028 Olympics. Hell, I'll be there. We'll all be there. All thousands of people that cheered you on. So let me ask you this last question. What are you reading, watching, or listening to?
You know, I listen to different meditations every day. You know, I don't have a set meditation that I do. I will tell you that I do listen to 80s music all the time.
Oh, snap.
And I love my 80s music. People think it's corny,
Nope.
that, you know, I don't have a good voice, but I listen to my Eye of the Tiger still. I still listen to, you know, my Michael Jackson. I just like getting fired up. And, you know, I read a lot about, you know, what the community is doing since I've been, you know, kind of taking that hiatus to take care of myself. So, you know, I'm looking forward to just getting back.
So, Lori, where can they find you? Because I think you're going to be on a lot more stages now that, again, that you've rang the bell, you're in the clear somewhat. We understand, you know, that, you know, it's not a bed of roses, but as you said a moment ago, you are here. So where can they find Ready or Not Media?
Yeah, you know, just go online and you can find me on LinkedIn. And I am very active on LinkedIn. It's the best way to find me. And just look readyornotmedia.com, and you could either book me for a future engagement or just even have a conversation. I love to have conversations. So I look forward to many more conversations.
Well, I'm happy that you had a conversation with me today. I appreciate you. I've always appreciated your friendship. And so I'm a little speechless. So yes, thank you for today. And I just want to remind everybody that the 40s are the new fabulous. So if you're in your 40s, you are fabulous. And if you're in your 50s, like us, you are fierce. But if you're over 60, we know you're a force. And so thank you for joining me today on the Second Act with Barbara Brooks and friends. We will see you soon. Make it a blessed day, everyone.
Thank you. Awesome.